Poverty isn't just the lack of money in your bank account. Poverty, in its cruelest essence, is the inability to focus your attention. You live with the constant feeling that you are behind, chasing a finish line that moves with every step, while watching people with half your talent get rich doing things you judge as trivial. It eats away at your spirit, doesn't it? The truth is, the universe doesn't hate you. The market isn't conspiring against your success. The problem is purely mathematical, and you are on the wrong side of the equation. A standard work year, in a 40-hour-week job, totals approximately 2,000 hours. That is what you sell to your boss in exchange for survival. You sell a sealed package of 2,000 hours of your life to build someone else's dream, and that's fine. That's how the system works. The fatal mistake happens when you get home. The mistake is believing that the time left over is free time. There is no free time. There is invested time or murdered time. The difference between those who dominate a market and those who just pay bills lies exactly in a second block of 2,000 hours. If you take any monetizable skill, be it programming, copywriting, video editing, sales, or woodworking, and apply 2,000 hours of deliberate, painful practice to it, you leave mediocrity behind and enter the bracket of those who set the price. I'm not talking about being the best in the world. I'm talking about being good enough that your competition is ignored. But you look at those 2,000 hours as an insurmountable mountain. You say, I don't have time. Lie, you have the time, but it is bleeding out. It leaks in 15 minutes of scrolling in the morning, in half an hour of worrying before bed, in TV show marathons you forget the next day. You have fragmented your most valuable currency into pennies and thrown it into the trash of cheap dopamine. The result is that you become a generalist in distractions and a specialist in nothing. And the market does not pay for distracted generalists. The market pays for focused obsession. We are here, on this channel, to stop this bleeding. If you have already realized that cheap motivation won't get you anywhere and are ready to face the reality of discipline, subscribe to Kokoro now. This is your public commitment that you have stopped playing with your potential. Understand the weight of this. 2,000 hours, it seems like an eternity, but it is just 1 year of intense focus, or 2 years of moderate consistency. It is the price of the toll. Most people stop at the gate, scared by the cost, and return to the safety of known failure. They prefer the certainty of mediocrity to the risk of effort. But you know, deep down, that the pain of staying the same is becoming unbearable. You don't need another productivity hack. You need to reclaim ownership of your life. You need to gather these hours like someone gathering oxygen in a sinking submarine. Because, financially speaking, that is exactly what is happening to you. Your brain is a silent traitor. While your conscious mind screams that it wants financial freedom, prosperity, and recognition, your primitive biology is actively working to sabotage you. Understand this, and you will understand why you have failed so many times before. Evolution did not design human beings to accumulate 2,000 hours of practice in an abstract skill like programming or investing. It designed us to save energy and seek immediate rewards. Hunt, eat, rest. Pleasure had to be instant because tomorrow was uncertain. The problem is that you live in an economy that rewards exactly the opposite. Delayed gratification. When you decide to start filling this bank of hours, the first 50 or 100 hours are actually stimulating. It's the novelty. Dopamine flows because you are exploring the unknown. But soon after, you hit what we call the latency plateau. It is that terrible period between hour 100 and hour 1000 where the work is hard, progress is invisible, and applause is non-existent. This is where your biology panics. Your limbic system perceives the effort without the immediate reward and triggers the discouragement alarm. You feel boredom, fatigue, and an irresistible urge to check something quickly on your phone. It is not a lack of character, it is an outdated defense mechanism. Your brain is trying to stop you from spending energy on something that, to it, is not bringing food to the table right now. Beyond biology, there is a modern psychological addiction, the illusion of passive competence. You watch 10 videos on how to edit videos and think you have learned. You consume content about entrepreneurship and feel like you are progressing. This is a lie. Consuming is not practicing. Watching someone do it does not count even 1 minute toward your 2,000 hours. You are just drugging yourself with the feeling of productivity while remaining static. The financial and professional market pays for scarcity. And what is scarce today? The capacity to endure the boredom of deliberate repetition, the ability to cross this neurological desert where nothing seems to happen while your neurons are silently building myelin sheaths, the insulation that makes thought fast and skill automatic. It is a slow biological process. You cannot accelerate a crop by shouting at it, and you cannot accelerate expertise by skipping steps. The reason you haven't monetized your talent yet is that you stopped digging 3 feet from gold. You stopped exactly when the novelty ended and the real work began. You confused the end of fun with the end of the road. But the brutal truth is that money, excellence, and true freedom are hidden behind the barrier of boredom you refuse to cross. The mathematics of irrelevance are relentless and silent. While you hesitate, the world does not wait. The real cost of not investing these 2,000 hours isn't just staying in the same place. It is accelerated regression. We live in an era of skill inflation. What was considered a professional level 5 years ago is done today by a free app on a teenager's phone. If your skill is common, your market value tends toward zero. Think about this coldly. You are not paid for your effort. You are not paid for your sweat or your good intentions. The market pays you, solely and exclusively, for the difficulty that exists in replacing you. If anyone can learn what you do in a weekend, you are a cheap commodity, and cheap commodities are replaced at the first opportunity. The 2,000 hours we speak of do not serve just to learn something. They serve to build a defensive moat around your career. They serve to make you, if not irreplaceable, at least extremely expensive to replace. The alarming discovery is that time is a vector that never stops. This is the hardest truth I can tell you today. The next 2 years will pass anyway. You can arrive at December 2027 with a new career, a new income stream, an undeniable authority in your niche, or you can arrive exactly as you are today, just older, more tired, and more afraid of the future. Time doesn't care about your decision. It will pass. The 2,000 hours will be spent. The only choice you have is whether they will be spent building your empire or building someone else's entertainment empire. And here lies the real danger. Compound interest works for both success and failure. That competitor of yours, that colleague you secretly judge, that lucky person who started studying English, coding, or finance 2 years ago. He is not just a little bit ahead of you. He is on a plateau where opportunities multiply by themselves. He has access to networks, salaries, and projects that are invisible to those at the entry level. The distance between you is not increasing arithmetically, it is increasing exponentially. Every day you delay starting your block of 2,000 hours, the mountain gets higher and the oxygen gets thinner. You are trading your future for a present comfort that isn't even satisfying. That peace you feel when postponing hard work is fake. It is dormant anxiety. Deep down, you know you are vulnerable. You know that if your job disappears tomorrow, you don't have a solid plan B because you have unbuilt real competence in anything. You have opinions on everything, but depth in nothing. And in a complex world, superficiality is the waiting room for poverty. The realization needs to hit now. The pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons, and you are already starting to feel the weight of that ton on your back. Now begins the true war, not the war against the world, but against the mirror. Until now, everything we have said is logical and makes sense intellectually, but logic evaporates when the alarm rings at 5 a.m. or when you arrive home exhausted from work at 7 p.m. It is in this exact moment, at the intersection between your exhaustion and your ambition, that the battle for the 2,000 hours is won or lost. You will face what I call the middle abyss. The beginning of any journey is exciting, full of dopamine and promises. The end is rewarding, full of victories. But the middle, the middle is an arid desert. It is when you have already studied or practiced 500 hours, have already sacrificed hundreds of nights of sleep, have already said no to dozens of invitations from friends, and you still don't see the money coming in. You don't see the recognition. You feel like an imposter. The voice in your head changes from, "We can do this," to "Who do you think you are?" At this stage, comfort becomes your most seductive enemy. Comfort whispers that you have already tried hard enough for today. It says that balance is important. Beware of that word. Balance is the final goal, not the initial method. To get a rocket out of the atmosphere, you need a disproportionate amount of energy and imbalance. If you seek a balanced life while trying to accumulate your 2,000 hours of excellence, you will fail at both. You will be mediocre at work and mediocre at rest. The escalation of the problem is that life will test your resolve. The car will break down, a family member will get sick, chaos will set in. It is the law of entropy. Most use these events as the perfect excuse to abandon the hour count. Now isn't a good time, life is too busy. And they pause. And when you pause a high-performance process, you don't freeze, you decay. Resuming the rhythm after stopping is 10 times harder than maintaining a slow but steady pace. The pain you feel when sitting in the chair to study or work when your entire body begs for the couch is not a signal to stop. It is the signal of growth. It is the labor pain of your new identity. You need to learn to negotiate with your own brain. You don't negotiate if you will do it, you negotiate how you will do it. I am exhausted, so I will do just 45 intense minutes instead of 2 hours. But I will not zero out the day. The amateur waits to feel good to act. The professional acts to, eventually, feel good. The hours that truly count for your transformation are not those when you are inspired. They are the dirty hours, the dragged hours, the hours done through the sheer force of hate and pure discipline. It is these hours that separate those who dream of success from those who inevitably conquer it. If you cannot endure the loneliness of construction, you will never be ready for the exposure of success. We have reached the point of convergence. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Starting today, stop looking at the top of the mountain and look only at your feet. The strategy to accumulate these 2,000 hours and save your life is not the suicidal intensity of studying 12 hours a day for a week and quitting the next. The strategy is non-negotiable consistency. If you dedicate 3 hours a day, maybe 1 before everyone wakes up and 2 after everyone goes to sleep, you will hit the expert mark in less than 2 years. If you do just 1 hour, it will take 5. Time doesn't matter as much as direction. The only math you need to master is that of the non-zero day. Never let a day end with 0 minutes invested in your future. Even on the worst days, when the world collapses, read 1 page, write 1 line, edit 1 second, keep the chain alive. And how does this turn into money? How does this save your life? Understand, money is just a byproduct of competence. When you cross the line of 1,000 or 1,500 hours, something magical happens. You stop looking for a job, and the work starts looking for you. You stop selling your time for a fixed low rate, and start selling solutions to expensive problems. An automation expert, an elite copywriter, a senior programmer, they don't ask for a raise, they dictate their price, because they have solved the scarcity equation. Gathering these 2,000 hours will save your life because it will buy your freedom. It will save you from the humiliation of having to laugh at an abusive boss's unfunny jokes because you need the paycheck. It will save you from the nightly anxiety of not knowing how to pay for a medical emergency. Competence is the only real life jacket in this unstable economic ocean. No one can take away what you have learned. They can take your house, your car, your job, but if you have expertise etched into your neural network, you build it all back in record time. Imagine yourself 2 years from now. You will meet this future version of yourself. Look into his eyes. Will he be resentful because you kept procrastinating, or will he be grateful, with tears in his eyes, shaking your hand and saying, "Thank you for not giving up when it was hard"? You are the architect and the builder of this meeting. The first hour starts now, not tomorrow. Now, close this video, turn off notifications, and go lay the first brick of your empire. If you have made it this far, and understood that the responsibility is entirely yours, prove that you are part of the minority that finishes what they start. Write our password for today in the comments. I pay the price. Do not write anything else. Just I pay the price. Let's see who is just passing through and who is truly going to change their life. To work.